real death.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny where you set up a world where you have this, death isn't real, and then they're like, oh no, people can actually die. Like, yeah, okay. It's like every other show. I'd say lean into the fact that people get
but even rich people?
Even rich people? Yeah. Hey, Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. We are here talking about Altered Carbon, Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2, Phantom Lady, and Payment Deferred.
Yes.
This is an easy show to describe. All right, it's been 2 years. I looked back. It was like February of 2018.
Wow.
Was when they dropped Season 1 of Altered Carbon
on
Netflix. We talked about it then. 2 years passed.
And the world went to shit.
And this one did too, actually.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. If you haven't watched Season 1, you might want to watch Season 1. I think there is you could watch this in a vacuum, but I think you'd get more out of it if you were like, oh right, stacks, sleeves.
But don't feel like you have to, because you may end up watching those our first ones that we did in the first season and end up knowing more than me. Because 2 years is a long
2 years
time.
is a long time. And in some ways, it's similar in some ways to Doctor Who, in that you've switched out our main actor. They've got regenerations.
Yes.
Much like regenerations.
Sure.
You've got a situation where you had your Takeshi Kovacs, our hero.
Yes.
Is now being played by Anthony Mackie.
Yes.
He was not playing that role in season 1.
No, he was not. No.
I'll do a little bit of background. Think of it. The show is kind of like Blade Runner. It's a high-tech, futuristic world, which also it brings in a bit of a noir. So there's a sci-fi noir feel to this thing.
That's the Blade Runner part of it.
Right. Well, yeah, and the Altered Carbon part of it. Right. They've got
yes.
It's in the future, and there's usually a mystery to solve, and no one's good.
Right.
Everyone's shades of gray, and everyo's a dick, and will probably screw you over. And there's like a femme fatale.
But one thing we don't have here is embodied, or at least not in the way we think of it, artificial intelligence. Right? We don't see any androids.
Well,
we see AI that exists in areas.
Correct. I would make the case that Poe would be that, but you're right. It's
he's contained within an area. He can only be projected places. He can't walk out.
Got you. Yes. There's a field in which he can live, so to speak.
He's like a hollow, sweet character.
Yeah. So in this world, death in some ways has been overcome. Their limitations, but essentially people's lives, their souls, spirits are in stacks. Little chips they stick in the back of their neck.
Yes.
And if their body, their sleeve, gets killed off, they just pop the little stack out, little chip, USB it into something else, and now I'm alive again. So my consciousness stays alive. I have different bodies. And if you're really rich, you clone your body. You can always have the same body all the time.
You can
always
actually
be young.
You can copy your sentience. So like, oh shoot, my body's stack got destroyed. Well, the backup was made last night, and I can put that onto another thing.
Remotely, you're like, hey, great, I'm back again. I lost a day, but otherwise I'm good. So if you're wealthy enough, you get extra perks. If you're poor, you could still survive, but they're going to probably put you in a different body. You might be...
That you wouldn't have a choice of.
Correct.
Like, oh, shoot, I was only like 45, but now I'm putting it into an old lady. Yeah. Oh, no.
No, and also that deals with the idea of gender. Gender's kind of fluid in this area because, the stacks can just go into any sleeve that's available.
Yep.
And we see that right away with Kovacs, because when we first meet Kovacs, he is not Anthony Mackie. He's a nightclub singer.
Right. Correct.
And so we open on a club. We meet a bounty hunter named Trep.
Misty Knight.
Misty Knight makes an appearance, so we got a Luke Cage crossover. She is looking for Kovacs and has been made aware that he's going to be picking up like a fee for a bounty at this club, and she's on the lookout for him. She has a conversation with Poe, She thinks Poe is running the club, but he's not. Poe is it's Edgar Allan Poe in AI form. When we first met him back in season 1, he was the AI that ran an AI hotel. It's like he's the personality that can like control everything within the confines of this building and make it look all cool and hotel-y. Well, I guess Kovacs liked him so much that he put him into an emitter, and he carries on like a pendant. Yeah. And so he kind of carries Poe around. It's the show's way of having a sidekick in some ways for Kovacs that we recognize. Like, cool, it's Poe. Yeah. And actually, I really enjoy the depiction of Poe. I think that's one of the better aspects of the show.
Very good actor, nice performance.
What we learned from season 1 was, one of the big baddies of that season was Kovacs' sister. She attempted to destroy Poe as an AI. And in the process, she corrupted his files. So now he glitches and he has memory out, and you can see his eye occasionally flutter, like doo, 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 doo. And he's imperfect. And one of the cool little things we see in this first 2 episodes is, Kovacs realizes, I can't count on you because you keep forgetting stuff. You should reboot. Well, Poe doesn't want to reboot. He has enough awareness and sentience
and experience
that he does not want to reboot because he's afraid that he'll forget some valuable information. One of that piece of information is his relationship with this woman named Lizzie Elliott, who we met in the first season. We have not seen her in the first 2 episodes so far, but his memory of her exists, and he'd rather it stay. And so he's it's this, I can be more effective if I wipe, but I don't want to. That's kind of his internal conflict.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like Kovacs was a bit of a dick. Because, it's one thing to be like, okay, you know what, you're going to get me killed. Fine, okay, yes, you probably should not be depending upon him the way that you are. But to be like, well, then I don't care about anything that you care about, so you should reboot, motherfucker. It's like, you dick.
Like, in other words, if the situation's reversed, this is like, and I guess they even bring that up a little bit, which is like, yeah, you're carrying this memory of Falconer with, your true love. If I asked you to get rid of that, would that be cool with you?
No, but he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He's like, you are a lesser class. You're just dependent on my neck.
That's right. You're whatever.
So yeah, you get the classes there in a way. You're just it feels very much like synths. We're talking about Picard.
Yeah. But it's like what you would expect is some sort of not what I expect, but what they're not respected. He's not respected, and so is that just going to be like accepted? Like, okay,
you're a tool.
You're just a tool. You're just a toaster. That's all. Who's complaining about not wanting to make toast?
Yeah. In this case, the toast is backing me up and making sure I survive.
And it seems like, in all these advances, they haven't been able to make bodies yet for these intelligent creatures. It's like, she got all this pendant. They're flying around in cars and everything, and they're like, they're slipping their brains into everything that's around.
Trep, our bounty hunter, sees this exchange take place. There's people that claim to be Kovacs so they can get the money. It's a double cross, and then we see that outside the club, which then blows up because I think the guy who was coming to give the money actually gave a bomb instead.
Yes.
The nightclub singer who was singing "I've Got You Under My Skin," which I thought was an interesting.
Look at that.
A little stack. Okay. There's a little exchange there. Trep shoots the person who was going to, give the money to Kovacs. Then, when Kovacs refuses to come, she's like, "Look, I've been sent by a meth. His name is Axley. Meths are short for Methuselah. They are the rich folks that can live forever because they have all the money." So this guy is like a top tier, very rich guy who wants to hire Kovacs. We find out for bodyguard duty. Well, Kovacs is like, "No, I'm not coming," and so Trep shoots him because you can do that here. Yep, it's not like murder. It's like, I killed a sleeve, and that's fine. So shoots.
Yeah, killing sleeves is fine.
Shoots nightclub singer version of Kovacs and then takes his stack. He wakes up. He has a conversation. So he makes the deal And then the part of the deal is, hey, I'll give you Anthony Mackie. You get to be in Anthony Mackie's body.
Yes.
And Anthony Mackie, we find out, is like, it's a super high-tech sleeve. It's got all the little cool bells and whistles on it, and it's actually been spliced with canine DNA,
Yeah.
which I was like, what? And we haven't seen that manifest itself yet. I'm like wondering how if they're going to show like he has some kind of feral qualities or something.
Sure.
Or I don't know. We haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen like howl.
Right.
Or, chase his own tail.
Scratch the carpet. And
Yeah,
whatever.
no, we haven't seen that now.
So, but it's like
Lick Poe.
It's right. He's anyway. It's got all the bells and whistles body. That's part of the deal. Well, he gets put into the body, spun up, but as he's trying to come back as Anthony Mackie, when he arrives, the whole place has been destroyed. His Axley, the meth is dead or dying. Or like, oh man, I'm dead. He then is attacked, and we find out at the end of episode 1 that the person that was doing the attacking, at least in the body form, was his true love, Falconer. That at the end of season 1, he's like, I'm going to go find her because he just found out she was alive. That she hadn't been. He thought she was dead all this time, but her stack survived somehow, and so he's like, I have to find her. Season 2 takes place 30 years after season 1, so
and her sleeve looks just the same.
it does look just the same. She's got good cloning.
Okay.
But so we see that there's a kind of a weird thing. He still has the image of Falconer in his head, and she like coaches him into like, hey, if you want to remember who stabbed you when you were, who did all this killing, you can stab yourself, and like bodies have memories. It's a little weird, but okay. So he does the thing. He reenacts being stabbed with a shard of glass, and in so doing, he brings about, oh right, it was the sleeve of Falconer that stabbed me. And she said like, I'm not here for you.
Yes.
And stabbed him. So that was obviously this big moment. She's alive, but she attacked him.
Yeah.
But she also didn't kill him, and he thinks that's important. Like, see, she knew it was me, maybe. And Poe says,
he's going around saying that's not her in his sleeve. So I mean,
Poe brings up the point of like, well, I'll bet you it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't her. It's just somebody using her sleeve. But he was like, but she didn't kill me. Maybe she recognized me. So he's wondering. And in fact, I'll say this narratively, it'd be kind of lame if it wasn't her in some ways. Like, oh, this woman you've been looking after, and you're wondering if you'll get back together. She saw you and attacked you. Oh, but it wasn't her, so it's fine. Like, narratively, it would be much more impactful if, for whatever reason, I don't know what the reason is, but she attacked him and it was her. I think that's a better story than just it didn't
that's
matter.
the story.
Right, but in other words, if the result of the story is, oh no, it was Jenny.
Right.
I mean, Stack, and she was just in the body.
Like, one thing that's kind of been established, I guess, is that yes, for the people that are now used to this whole, your stack is put in a different body, and I'm going to feel the same way about you no matter what body you're in. Then you would think it wouldn't matter. Then it's like, oh, somebody took this person's sleeve. Oh, that's the sleeve. Oh, we got to have the whole thing, the sleeve and the stack. It's like, what? You just didn't care if someone was in a different sleeve, and now you care about that sleeve? Like it's just a piece of clothing. So, yes, you're right. It would be dramatically not as good, except that he's all upset. Like, oh, who's in this? What are you doing with those sleeves? Like,
Well, his whole purpose so far in these 2 episodes is to find her.
Yes.
And so if he just found her and was like, oh no, it was just somebody using your sleeve, it's like,
Yeah.
I suppose you can make that interesting, but I'm just saying it's much more interesting if it's like, no, she actually doesn't like you.
No.
Or whatever. Yeah. For whatever reason, feels it's more important.
Yeah, but it makes it even more curious about why, for the first 2 episodes, she's just running around killing people like a maniac.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, it can't be you. But no, actually it is. So now it's like, that's what we got to find out soon, hopefully.
There is a
eventually,
moment.
Probably before the end of the season, is why.
We'll cut to the end of episode 2, because it's when she is on a rampage.
Yes.
In his presence, and he's upset with her. Like, you can't go leaving that sleeve. He assumes it's not her.
Yep, he does.
So he's trying to shoot her.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. Then he throws a knife at her.
Yeah.
She catches it.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that was like a reference back to season 1, because I can't remember. But it looks like in that moment, it triggers something.
Right.
Because she goes, what? So I'm wondering if it is her, but there's maybe 2 identities.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, like she's
Sure, yeah.
She's battling something else. I
Sure.
don't know.
Yeah,
or,
who knows?
Or she's corrupted
She's
herself.
double stacked.
She's double stacked. There you go. That sounds good. She's like an Oreo. No, okay. Double stuffed, I guess that would be. Okay, sorry. All right. Anyway, so that's one idea. There's a lot of voiceover narration. I'm not so crazy about that, but I paid attention to the very first phrase because I'm like, that's usually when you got voiceover narration. That first paragraph is usually like, this is what sets up the story.
Yeah. Right, true.
And so the very first line is, this is a ghost story.
Oh, interesting.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not sure what that means, but that suggests to me, well, it could be haunted by your past, which we see that. Yeah. But like an entity.
Right.
That is a ghost. I don't know what that. I don't know what that refers to.
Who knows? I mean, presumably, or not presumably. I mean, one thing that occurs to me, it could be somebody who we thought was dead up until now.
Right.
And they're not.
Like the sister, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah. That's certainly a prime candidate, right? But like they were orphaned, so maybe it was the parents.
Parents. But we also then hear this idea, the theme of, hey, when you live forever, sometimes it's almost worse than dying. It's like your past mistakes keep living with you, and you're haunted by them for eternity, and they keep adding up, and you get this weight of all these mistakes. And so
so maybe that's what the ghost that they're talking about is some mistake he made previously that is coming to get him. Good point. All right.
So anyway, that's happening. In his efforts to figure out this, there's a new crime. It's basically, in the first season, he was hired to solve the murder of a meth.
Yes.
And here he's been solved to protect a meth and then figure out the murder.
Yes. Yes.
So meths get killed and he has to figure out who did it. He thinks right now that it's perhaps... evidence appears to be that Falconer was the one who did these murders. We also see then we are introduced to the Protectorate.
Yes.
Led by Colonel Carrera. They show up at the crime scene, and it's a weird
and commit
scene.
more crimes.
It's like the cops are there, and they're like, you don't have jurisdiction kind of thing. But yeah, we do. They're like, okay, fine, but no weapons. And they're like, okay, whatever. We're still going to kill you.
Yeah.
It's a weird scene. Like,
it is a weird scene.
Like, they asked for no weapons, I assume because they were worried that these guys might try to kill them. Maybe. I don't know anyway. It was that's an odd thing. And then it was just funny that their solution to the problem of, we had to get rid of our weapons was they the guy take his weapon and then throw it around the room to each other. Yes. A single pistol.
Yes. I thought they were doing that so that they could implicate whoever's gun it was.
Oh, that's a good point. You're right, because then they put it in his hand.
Yeah.
So they're like, he was... Because, okay, there's a political game being played here. I'll try to sum it up. I think you kind of understand a little bit. So, okay, you've got... This is actually interesting. They're back on Harlan's World. Harlan's World is where Kovac, I guess, grew up, spent a lot of time. It's where we see him originally. In season 1, he gets shot there. When he's like, I'm in the shower, and he gets out, and then they shut him. He's the last envoy, and they kill his body, whatever. So he's back in familiar territory. Anyway, Harlan's World, settled by this guy, Conrad Harlan. His daughter, I guess, is now in charge. She's the governor, Danica Harlan.
Yeah.
And the reason is because Conrad Harlan she said he had renouncer vows. I don't know what that means. But he abdicated everything and disappeared.
Right.
And no one can contact him.
No.
He's dead. That's what I thought. I was like, in this kind of world, he's dead. But maybe not. Maybe he's a hermit. Yeah. And they'll have to go out.
Maybe
he's off the grid.
Maybe he's someone we've seen already, but he's in somebody else's stack.
To ghost story.
Biding his time.
Ghosts.
There you go.
Okay.
Woo.
So Harlan. So Danica is in charge of Harlan's World. they are having still trouble with. They were calling them Kellists, so I assume that's a reference back to Chris Falconer. So these are probably people that follow the teachings of Falconer, and they were, whatever, terrorists. And she's made a ceasefire with them. Ceasefire.
Wow.
Well, now the Protectorate is trying to hone in on this planet, so they want to stay, and they're trying to use this conflict as a reason to hone in.
Sure.
So now that there's no conflict, they have to create one.
Yes.
So the Protectorate frames this guy.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, see, the Kellists just killed a meth. So we have to stay and be police cops.
There you go.
Police cops. Anyway, so that's kind of that. Yeah, that's what we know so far.
That's what we know.
Danica's being made out to look like she's reasonable.
Huh.
So I just wonder, in this world again,
Yeah,
no one's
who knows?
nice.
No,
So that's why I'm thinking maybe she killed her dad. Well, we'll find out. The other thing that's important is we find out that Axley, the meth who was killed off, was killed for good. Whatever weapon was used to kill him,
yes.
got rid of him and all of his backups.
Yes.
And so real death is back.
Yep.
And
Back,
people are really
baby.
worried about it. Like, oh God, real death.
Yeah.
This is kind of funny where you set up a world where you have this, death isn't real, and then they're like, oh no, people can actually die. Like, yeah, okay. It's like every other show. I'd say lean into the fact that people get death.
Even rich people?
Even rich people? Yeah, that's true. Rich people can't die. That's a good point. Now, I had to admit, in the middle, watching the second episode, it was yesterday.
Oh, right.
I actually fell asleep.
Like I've done sometimes on this show.
Yeah, good point. So in the case of the show, first of all, it's dark, right? So yeah, moody, atmospheric. The music is at times very like whoa, trying to be moody, but it's also kind of like
it's
Cure for Insomnia type.
It's like a lullaby.
And then there are these a lot of people whisper. You get these outbursts of gunplay, but a lot of whispering, and then you get these voiceovers.
Yes.
They're very platitudey.
Sure.
Right? Like,
yeah.
History always around us. The past is. I went out. I was like, oh God! I had to rewind it and watch what I'd missed, but I suppose that's not the best marketing endorsement for this. Who said, I fell asleep. I do enjoy it. I think the production value is high, and I like Anthony Mackie, and there's a lot to like, but I fell asleep. I did fall asleep, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. So when you bring up plot points to, what about this?
I have no idea.
Maybe I slept.
Kovac decides, the one person who knows maybe about Axley was this bounty hunter, Trep. So to track her down, he starts getting all the top bounties on the planet, figuring eventually he'll run into her. And sure enough, eventually on the 5th try, she's there. They meet up, and she's now joined him.
Well, she doesn't want to work with him until he basically says, here, you can have all these bounties for free.
Okay. Yeah.
And then once he finds out that she doesn't really know that much, then he doesn't want to work with her.
Yeah, he's like, I work alone.
Yeah.
I tracked you down and was like really insistent about getting to you. Now go away.
Yeah, unless you're an AI, then I work alone.
Correct. He's trying to find information about Falconer, and so he goes to this. He's in with the Yakuza. Hideki. We learned this whole thing. He has a fight with the Yakuza. Then he has a big past with this guy. And now that guy's giving him info as well. And so one of the info is like, hey, go to this, check this place out.
Sure.
This guy gives memories of other
stacks.
So you can buy them, which reminds me a lot of kind of a cool movie. I haven't watched it in forever, but Strange Days.
Oh, yeah.
I probably mentioned this maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. But Strange Days was Ralph Fiennes.
Yes, it was.
It's a futuristic world, very Blade Runner-y, where basically one of the chief forms of entertainment is you can take in memories from other people so vibrantly that you experience them. And you experience these memories and you pay a lot for them. And anyway, so it's very similar in that way.
Yeah, it's true.
So
bad movie, though.
Was it a bad movie?
Oh.
It might be. I'm asking little Jimmy. I seem to remember liking it.
Oh.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
Right.
But, okay.
Maybe it was a long time ago.
Okay. You can let us know. Was Strange Days, is that relevant to this show, and was it good?
There you go.
Okay. He sees this memory of Falconer like killing kids.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. She like slits the throat of these kids, and she's going crazy on folks. Then she shows up in real person and goes crazy on more folks. Also, this Colonel Carrera, because when he goes and investigates the crime scene with Axley before killing off the cops, he realizes, oh, we've got the sleeve. We Anthony Mackie.
Yes.
Just track him down, and they can track him, and so they do. They have a confrontation. Kovac is gonna kill him, but he can't.
No,
he can't pull the trigger because it's a military suit, wedge suit or whatever, and so you can't kill each other. So you can't. Have
there you go.
fire.
So are you gonna met that guy now?
Am I matting Carrera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those. I figured out how to kill you.
Exactly. So yeah, it's kind of like RoboCop, right? Where it's like, oh, I can't shoot the guy who made me, but I'll figure out a way.
You're fired.
You're fired. So that's where we end off. Is that Kovac has been captured by at least at the moment, the big bads. Protector. I guess the big bad right now is Falconer. I mean, she seems to be what's killing off everybody. Yes. For whatever reason. But yeah, those are our first 2 episodes. Any other thoughts, sir?
Oh, yes. One of the things that you can't escape about this kind of thing is just occurred to me, which is basically the whole, there's only one man who can do this. There's only one man. And so it manifests itself in many different ways where it's like, I could just hire some private detective. But no, it's got to be the envoy, the previous envoy. And then when he goes to the Yakuza place, it's like, we got you taken care of. Like, no, that was all part of his plan.
His all plan was to be captured.
He would have killed you all, but no, you had to seemingly beat him. So then the guy was just sort of like, no, you just stay away from him.
That's right. You don't want to touch him anymore.
He could kill you all.
He's got Yakuza protection.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's sort of like, okay.
Well, there is also that notion of, we were talking about this, there's only one woman for me.
Yes.
And I have a true love through eternity.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that, but it's not just the whole like the perfect person. It's like, there's nobody like that in real life who's like really survived as much crap as this guy survives. So it's just sort of like, just the point where sure, everybody get Y work on them so they can fly around and everything, but it's just, it just struck me during this where it's sort of like, God, he's the perfect killer that
he is
we
plot
only need
armor
one.
man.
He's
like the plot has to revolve around him.
Yep, and like the 300,000 people. And between me and getting this thing, I'll just kill him.
Okay. So that's a good point. Will the show make him look vulnerable in some way? No.
I mean, they always get shot, and then it's like, the body, and slap the.
Yeah, he actually has a high healing factor now.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah.
So there you go.
One other thing I will mention is there is a big difference in the rating of these series. So season 1. I called it a hard R, I believe at the time, for sex and violence. It had a lot of both. I would say so far, 2 episodes into season 2, I would say it's more PG-13. Which, whatever, we do lots of PG-13 shows. It's not. Sure. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
It's out.
It's out. But compared to the first season, I think there's a big change in tone for whatever reason. I don't know what that is, but there is a difference in they're not doing the Shockersons that they had before.
That's right. Yeah, I missed the Shockersons.
That guy Shockerson, that was his sidekick.
Yeah. They were a good family.
The Shockersons, here we go. Shockersons, 1, 2, 3. All right, anyway. Yeah, they're coming later up on. I assume we'll see them in episode 3. Shockersons. So anyway, we'll be back talking about episodes 3 and 4. Also, Westworld, everybody.
Oh, yes.
Westworld is back. Talking about shows with complex plots.
There you go.
That we haven't talked about in a while.
That's right.
Woo! Get ready. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Westworld Season 3 as well.
We will.
So thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.